Another question that we get is, how do we calculate the speed that we display on the MPower console? We display speed and distance. The simplest way to think about it is we calculate speed directly from watts. So we calculate wattage the way that we've discussed before. We take that number and we turn it into a speed. For those of you who are familiar with biking and want to know where the speed has come from, what we did is we took an average bike on a flat road with no wind and an average size rider in a middle gear and said, okay, at X amount of watts, say 150 watts, that rider will be going 21 miles an hour. And at 200 watts, they'd be going 23 miles an hour, etc. And that's what we display for the wattage. So there's two things about that to understand. What it means is whenever you're at 100 watts, your speed will be the same. Whenever you're at 200 watts, your speed will always be what it is for 200 watts. This can cause a little bit of confusion for a rider, because if you're on the bike and you're in class and you're pretending in your head that you're going up a hill, so you have it with a lot of resistance and you're not pedaling at a high RPMs, you might still be generating a high level of wattage. And so you're going to get a high speed when you're pretending to go up a hill at a low speed. That's just something you need to understand, where speed comes from and why the speed would look like that. The reason we did it is simple. What we wanted to do is we wanted to have speed and distance be a reward for working harder. So basically, the harder you work, the faster you'll go. And it's whether you're at 50 RPMs pretending to go up a hill, or you're at 90 RPMs and pretending to sprint down a street, you're going to get more credit for working at a higher level of resistance, a higher wattage. So when you get to the end of a class, you've gone for an hour and you went 21 miles, and yesterday in an hour you went 20 miles, you know that you worked harder today. And that's the key to the measurement. That's why we connected it the way that we did. Other people calculate speed and distance a different way. They might count how many times the flywheel goes around and call that a speed. Well, of course, if I have no resistance on the bike, I can spin the flywheel around really quickly without even being on the bike and get a lot of credit for doing no work, and we didn't want it to work that way.